Welcome back to Phantom Chronicle, everyone. Tonight we're bringing you another unsettling series of stories that have been intentionally hidden away. In this episode, we'll explore the dark underbelly of small-town America, sharing 8 disturbing accounts of covert groups that operate openly, dominating entire communities through terror, deceit, and horrific deeds. While these groups might appear to be benign community organizations, historical associations, or philanthropic charities, their respectable exteriors conceal a sinister reality that has cost countless innocent lives. Every narrative you're about to hear has been thoroughly investigated and gathered from eyewitness accounts, leaked documents, and brave survivors who risked everything to reveal the truth. To safeguard those who bravely stepped forward, the names of places and people have been changed, as many of these clandestine societies continue to operate without consequence even now. From the picturesque landscapes of Vermont to the vast plains of Kansas, these hidden organizations have become so ingrained in their communities that challenging their power has often led to deadly consequences for those who dared to investigate. If you're new to our channel, be sure to subscribe to Buried Files for daily true horror content that uncovers the unsettling secrets lurking in our own neighborhoods. Don't forget to hit that notification bell so you're always informed when we expose the conspiracies they desperately wanted to keep hidden. Story 1. The Riverside Fellowship, Montana. Angela Morrison inherited her great-aunt Ruth's Victorian home in Riverside, Montana. Ruth's sudden death from a heart attack at 73 had shocked the family, though the doctor assured them it was natural. Angela discovered her aunt had been deeply involved with the Riverside Fellowship, a Christian charity led by Pastor David Brennan. Hoping to honor Ruth's memory, Angela began volunteering at the fellowship's thrift store. The first few days seemed ordinary, but soon she noticed something odd. Volunteers would occasionally disappear into a back room marked private, staff only. Conversations halted abruptly when she approached. Most disturbing, recipients of the fellowship's food distribution program would linger after receiving their boxes, discreetly passing white envelopes to volunteers who pocketed them without comment. Angela's curiosity intensified when she found Ruth's hidden notes tucked inside a hollowed-out Bible. The handwriting grew increasingly shaky across dozens of entries. "They think I don't notice. The envelopes. The private meetings. David's new truck. Where did that money come from?" Another entry dated 3 weeks before her death. "I've seen the ledgers. The elderly residents from Mercy House. They're being used. God forgive me. I think they're trafficking drugs through them. These people don't know what they're carrying." The final entry made Angela's blood run cold. "If something happens to me, it won't be natural. I've documented everything. The box in the attic. Please, whoever finds this, don't let them get away with it." In the attic, Angela discovered a fireproof box containing a detailed journal, photographs of fellowship members meeting with known criminals, financial records showing unexplained cash flows, and most damning, a list of 15 names with dates of death. All were elderly Riverside residents who had been fellowship volunteers. All had died within months of expressing concerns or becoming a liability. All had left their estates to the fellowship. Ruth's investigation had been meticulous. She documented the pattern. Elderly residents with no close family would be recruited for special service, delivering care packages to other seniors. These packages contained heroin hidden in false bottoms. The recipients were dealers. The elderly couriers were unwitting mules, protected by their age and reputation. If they discovered the truth or became suspicious, they died. Heart attacks, falls, strokes, all plausibly natural for their age, but the pattern was undeniable. Angela photographed everything and contacted the Montana Attorney General's office. The investigation that followed was extensive. Forensic accountants traced money laundering. Exhumation orders revealed 3 victims had been poisoned with compounds that mimicked natural death. Pastor Brennan, 12 associates, and Sheriff Rita Valdez, who had ensured investigations into suspicious deaths went nowhere, were arrested. The fellowship had been responsible for 23 deaths over 15 years, trafficking millions of dollars in narcotics. Ruth Morrison had been their final victim. Story 2. The Millfield Preservation Society, Vermont. Journalist Marcus Whitfield was contracted to write about Millfield, Vermont for a state heritage grant. The town was too picturesque, every house gleaming with historically accurate paint, gardens in precise arrangements. The Millfield Preservation Society, led by Eleanor Ashworth, took credit for this obsessive preservation. When he asked residents about families who had moved away, their answers were rehearsed and vague. The library's historical records had gaps, missing town meeting minutes and incomplete property transfers. Deputy Jim Kowski represented Marcus's breakthrough. After their formal interview, Jim followed Marcus to his car. "Meet me at the rest stop on Route 7 tonight," he said quietly. "9 o'clock, come alone." Jim arrived looking haggard. "I shouldn't be talking to you, but this town isn't right. The Preservation Society, they don't just preserve buildings, they preserve power. Eleanor Ashworth decides who stays, who goes. The Chen family owned the old mill property. Eleanor wanted it for the society. They refused to sell. Then their daughter vanished. Just gone. We searched for weeks. They sold the property for a fraction of its value and left town within a month. I've seen it happen at least 4 times that I'm certain of." Marcus spent 3 weeks conducting research. Property records revealed the Preservation Society owned over 60% of residential properties in Millfield, often acquired through foreclosures or suspiciously below-market sales. Cross-referencing with missing persons databases revealed at least 12 people who had vanished within weeks of refusing to sell property or comply with the Society's demands. Financial records showed regular payments to Heritage Transport Services, refrigerated trucks that made regular trips to Millfield and then traveled to remote areas in Quebec, Canada. Marcus's exposé in the Burlington Free Press triggered a massive federal investigation. What they discovered exceeded even Marcus's darkest suspicions. The Preservation Society wasn't just murdering inconvenient residents. They were operating a human trafficking network, kidnapping individuals and selling them to criminal organizations. Eleanor Ashworth and 14 associates were arrested. The investigation revealed they were responsible for at least 37 deaths over 2 decades. Story 3. The Cedar Grove Business Alliance, Alabama. Tommy Rodriguez opened Rodriguez Auto Repair in Cedar Grove, Alabama, after saving for 7 years. Within 2 weeks, Frank Buchanan, Mayor Patricia Donnelly, and Charles Webb arrived in expensive suits. "Mr. Rodriguez, welcome to Cedar Grove," Buchanan said, presenting a leather folder. "We represent the Cedar Grove Business Alliance. We ensure all local businesses thrive through mutual cooperation." The folder contained a membership agreement, monthly fees of $850, mandatory participation in coordinated pricing strategies, and adherence to community business standards. "What happens if I don't join?" Tommy asked. Buchanan's smile never wavered. "That would be unfortunate. The Alliance protects members from unfair competition, regulatory difficulties, and various complications that can arise in small-town business." Tommy declined politely but firmly. The retaliation began immediately. The fire marshal arrived with an unannounced inspection, finding violations Tommy knew didn't exist. Anonymous online reviews claimed he damaged vehicles and overcharged customers. All lies, but damaging nonetheless. Janet Morris, an elderly customer, pulled him aside. "Tommy, you need to understand something. The Alliance runs this town. Frank Buchanan owns the chicken processing plant, biggest employer in the county. Mayor Donnelly makes sure permits and inspections go their way. Charles Webb controls all commercial loans. They've destroyed every business that refused to join." Over the following weeks, Tommy documented everything. He installed security cameras after finding sugar in his gas tanks. He recorded phone conversations where suppliers mysteriously became unable to fulfill orders. He photographed the police car that parked across from his shop 3 times a day, intimidating customers. Research revealed 17 businesses had closed in the past decade, all after refusing to join the Alliance. Their properties were subsequently purchased at auction by Alliance members. Several former owners had filed insurance claims for arson or vandalism shortly before closing. Tommy contacted the FBI office in Birmingham. Agent Carla Martinez immediately recognized the hallmarks of organized crime. Frank Buchanan, Mayor Donnelly, Charles Webb, and 14 others were arrested on charges including racketeering, extortion, conspiracy, and arson. Story 4. The Harmony Historical Committee, Kansas. Sarah Mitchell was hired to write a commemorative book for Harmony, Kansas's sesquicentennial. She immediately noticed gaps, 18 months of missing records during 1965 to 1966. When she asked residents about that period, their responses were vague and rehearsed. Sarah's breakthrough came at an estate sale where she discovered Reverend Thomas Hartley's private diary. The entries for 1965 were extraordinary. May 15, 1965. The newcomers continue causing disruption. The Silverman family insists we need a community pool. The Johnsons want to change the school curriculum. These people don't understand. Harmony has survived by maintaining our values and traditions. July 3, 1965, emergency meeting of the committee. We agreed. Decisive action is necessary. Our community must be preserved. September 28, 1965. It's done. 13 families, 57 souls. May God forgive us, but Harmony is safe now. The properties have been redistributed appropriately. Sarah's hands shook as she read. 57 people, men, women, children, had vanished. Further research revealed that all 13 families had been newcomers who had expressed desires to modernize Harmony. Property transfers showed their homes sold for pennies on the dollar to longtime residents, many of whom currently served on the historical committee. Robert Hayes, the committee's current chairman, became increasingly defensive when Sarah requested access to mid-1960s records. When she pressed, he terminated her contract. Sarah's attempts to involve law enforcement went nowhere. The county sheriff was Hayes's cousin. The state attorney general's office expressed concern, but noted that without bodies or living witnesses, prosecution after 60 years was nearly impossible. The Harmony Historical Committee published their book using a different author. It portrayed 1965 as a year of quiet prosperity. Sarah published her findings in an academic journal, but Harmony's darkest secret remained officially unacknowledged, a town preserved through mass murder. Story 5. The Willowbrook Garden Club, Ohio. Jennifer Walsh joined the Willowbrook Garden Club after relocating from Cleveland. Victoria Sterling presided with military precision. Membership was about surveillance, not gardening. Members reported on neighbors' property conditions, landscaping, even paint colors. The Kramer situation revealed the club's true nature. The elderly couple, both in their 80s, had maintained a spectacular garden for decades. But Mr. Kramer's Parkinson's disease and Mrs. Kramer's arthritis made maintenance impossible. Their once pristine yard grew wild. Jennifer watched in horror as the garden club orchestrated their destruction. Anonymous complaints to code enforcement resulted in daily citations. The club's members, who controlled the city council, passed emergency ordinances specifically targeting the Kramers' property. When the couple tried to hire help, garden club members who owned local landscaping businesses refused service or quoted impossibly high prices. Within 3 months, the Kramers sold their home for $40,000 below market value to Victoria Sterling's daughter and moved to a nursing home. Mrs. Kramer died 6 weeks later. The death certificate said, broken heart syndrome, a real medical condition triggered by extreme emotional stress. Jennifer began investigating. Property records revealed a pattern. 17 families had sold homes below market value over the past 8 years, all after garden club interventions. 8 of those sellers had died within a year of selling, unusually high mortality even accounting for age. Retired city clerk Mary Chen provided documents showing coordination between garden club members, city officials, and local business owners to systematically pressure undesirable residents. Detective Mike O'Brien's investigations into several sudden deaths had been closed with suspicious speed. O'Brien's wife was Victoria Sterling's second-in-command. Jennifer found evidence linking the garden club to deaths classified as accidents. Poisonings using digitalis from foxglove, ricin from castor beans, toxins from oleander and yew. When she contacted the FBI, her tires were slashed and she received a bouquet of oleander flowers with a threatening note. Victoria Sterling and 11 members were arrested for conspiracy, elder abuse, insurance fraud, and at least 14 murders. Story 6. The Pine Valley Sportsman's Lodge, Idaho. Retired forest ranger Kevin Murphy received an exclusive invitation to Pine Valley Sportsman's Lodge in Idaho by referral only. William Crenshaw greeted guests with champagne and cigars. Traditional hunting is for amateurs. We offer something more challenging. The first day was conventional elk hunting. That evening, Crenshaw gathered them for a private presentation. Tomorrow we hunt the ultimate game, he said, dimming the lights. A projection showed topographic maps, thermal imaging equipment, and military-grade tracking technology. Human ingenuity, desperation, and survival instinct create the most challenging hunt imaginable. Kevin's stomach dropped. Around him, several guests smiled with anticipation. Colonel Richards, retired military, leaned over. "You look troubled, Murphy." "This is insane," Kevin whispered. "We're talking about hunting people." Richards' expression hardened. "You're here now. You've seen the equipment, heard the proposal. You think Crenshaw lets witnesses walk away? You hunt, or you become the hunted. Those are your options." The next morning, Kevin learned the victims' identities. Homeless individuals and runaway teenagers, kidnapped and transported to Pine Valley's remote acreage. They were given minimal supplies and a 12-hour head start. Then the sportsmen would track them down. Kevin tried to sabotage the hunt. He accidentally damaged equipment, made noise to alert victims, deliberately missed shots. But the other hunters compensated. By mid-afternoon, they'd killed 2 people, a homeless veteran and a teenage girl. Game warden Lisa Zhang's unexpected arrival saved Kevin's life and ended the nightmare. She'd been tracking reports of unusual activity and arrived during the hunt. Kevin immediately revealed everything, knowing it was his only chance at survival and redemption. The law enforcement response was massive. FBI, state police, and federal marshals surrounded the property. The investigation revealed Pine Valley Sportsman's Lodge had operated for over 15 years, catering to wealthy individuals who paid up to $500,000 per hunt. Crenshaw and 17 associates were arrested. Forensic teams discovered the remains of at least 43 victims buried throughout the property. Story 7. The Maplewood Service League, Wisconsin. Michelle Thompson volunteered with the Maplewood Service League after recovering from cancer. Director Hannah Brooks explained they were selective, prioritizing families who would benefit most. After 3 months, Michelle noticed troubling patterns. Families with attractive, well-behaved children received extensive support and enrollment in a special enrichment program. The enrichment program bothered Michelle. Parents seemed reluctant to discuss it, and children who attended returned changed. Quieter, more withdrawn, sometimes with unexplained bruises they claimed came from accidents. Michelle's breaking point came when she found the files. Working late one evening, she discovered detailed dossiers on every family the league served. The documents contained psychological profiles, notes about children's personalities and physical attractiveness, and evaluations of which children were suitable for special placement. One file belonged to the Torres family. 8-year-old Maria Torres had attended the enrichment program before the family abruptly withdrew her and left Maplewood. The file contained a note. Subject showed resistance to programming. Recommend termination of family services and intervention if they become problematic. Michelle tracked down Sarah Torres 3 hours away. Sarah broke down crying. "They did terrible things to Maria," she whispered. "When we tried to pull her out, they threatened to call CPS and claim we were abusing her. We had to run. We legally changed our names. I wake up every night terrified they'll find us." Michelle discovered the Service League was systematically identifying vulnerable children, grooming them through the enrichment program, and facilitating abuse by wealthy donors. Children who resisted were permanently removed through fraudulent abuse reports that Police Chief Anthony Silva ensured were investigated by sympathetic officers. Financial records revealed substantial donations from individuals who gained access to children. Michelle went directly to the FBI. The investigation revealed over 60 child victims. Hannah Brooks and 12 associates, including Chief Silva, were arrested on charges of child trafficking, sexual abuse, fraud, and conspiracy. Story 8. The Blackwater Heritage Foundation, North Carolina. James Patterson researched his family history at the Blackwater Heritage Foundation in North Carolina. Director Margaret Caldwell warned him, "What you discover may be complicated." The foundation's archives were extraordinary. Beyond typical genealogical records, they maintain detailed files on every family in Blackwater's history. Personality assessments, health conditions, genetic traits, behavioral patterns across generations. Connection maps traced relationships with obsessive precision. James found references that made his skin crawl. A note from 1967. Patterson-Williams marriage recommended. Compatible temperaments, complementary genetic profiles, anticipated offspring quality, excellent. Another from 1982. Patterson-Jenkins union discouraged. Genetic incompatibility, history of mental illness in Jenkins' line, recommendation, administrative intervention. Administrative intervention appeared frequently. James cross-referenced those families with other records and discovered a pattern. Families who received that designation either left Blackwater abruptly or suffered mysterious tragedies, accidents, sudden illnesses, disappearances. His research revealed that Blackwater had been conducting a selective breeding program for generations, carefully manipulating marriages and reproduction to create optimal genetic outcomes. Town leaders, guided by the Heritage Foundation, applied social and economic pressure to ensure compliance. But the darkest truth emerged from documents James found in a mislabeled box. The foundation wasn't just preserving genetic lines, they were selling people. Young adults bred to specific genetic specifications were trafficked to wealthy clients who paid enormous sums for customized children and young adults with particular characteristics. Diana Foster, the town clerk and Margaret Caldwell's daughter, maintained false documentation, issued fraudulent death certificates for individuals who were actually sold, and ensured law enforcement never investigated too deeply. James discovered his own family history had been manipulated. His grandfather's accidental death had been murder, eliminating a genetic line the foundation deemed flawed. His mother's marriage to his father had been arranged. When James tried to leave Blackwater with damaging documents, security personnel attempted to detain him. He escaped by crashing his car through the foundation's gate and driving straight to the FBI office in Raleigh. The investigation revealed a horror spanning 5 decades. The Blackwater Heritage Foundation had been responsible for over 130 disappearances, orchestrating a human breeding and trafficking network that supplied wealthy clients across the United States and internationally. Margaret Caldwell, Diana Foster, and 19 others were arrested on charges including human trafficking, kidnapping, conspiracy, and murder. Genetic analysis confirmed that dozens of missing individuals had been bred specifically for sale.